Song 25. Challenge from a Clever Maiden. Obeisance to all gurus. When Milarepa and his heart-son disciple Rachungpa were begging alms and helping sentient beings at the place of the 5 small lakes in the Dritsam region, their reputation ran high. People said, "Look, the Jetson Milarepa and his son Rachungpa are now meditating at DC Snow Mountain and Marpam Lake." Influenced by their great fame, all the people of Jowo Dritsam were convinced that Milarepa and Rachungpa were truly marvellous and unusual yogis. As their respect and admiration grew, they said, "Let us go and visit these 2 accomplished yogis." So one day, a number of patrons came to see the Jetson and brought with them provisions and oblations. Among them was a young girl called Rachungma, who was intelligent, compassionate, and had great faith in the Dharma. Actually, she was a Dakini who had incarnated in human form. Having heard the life story of Milarepa, the faith of this well-gifted girl was confirmed, and she came today with 4 young girl friends to visit him. But in order to test and thus verify the reputation of the Jetson and his son, she and her friends challenged Milarepa by singing this song. "We take refuge in the 3 precious ones. Pray bless us with your great compassion. O you 2 exalted Repa yogis, you have a great reputation from afar. O ye faithful here assembled, please be silent now and listen to our song. We 5 young girls from good families now sing for you our offering. Please judge our words and ponder on our parables. For you 2 rappers, this our song is sung. The fame of DC Snow Mountain is great. When one sees it not, but hears much of it, people say, 'Look, the snow of DC is like a crystal stupa.' But when one comes near and sees it clearly, nothing great or wonderful is found. The top of DC is wrapped in drifts of snow, its body is snow-clad. In this we see nothing great or wonderful, except that these mountains round about are rather nice and charming. The fame of Lake Marpam is great. When one sees it not, but hears much of it, people say, 'Look, Lake Marpam is like a mandala of greenish gems.' But when one nears it and sees it clearly, nothing great or wonderful can be seen. 'Tis but a lake filled by the rain, a place where water trickles, encircling it are rocks and meadows. In this we see nothing great or wonderful. Great is the fame of the height of Red Rock when one hears about it from far away. People say this rock is like a precious jewel, but when one comes near and sees it clearly, it is but a great stone jutting out. Upon it bushes and trees are growing, and round it brooks and small streams flow. In it there is nothing great or wonderful. You, the elder and the younger Repa, have a fame that spreads to far-off places. From far away we have heard much of you. People say they are indeed accomplished beings. But when one comes near and scans you closely, one sees an old man and a callow youth, who chant and hum and sing together, exhibiting their bodies nude and shameless. He sees 2 common people wearing cotton, 2 beggars who eat the food of alms. He sees 2 unscrupulous rascals who roam unrestrained at large. There is nothing wonderful or good about you. There is nothing great that we can find. To our sisters who have wandered everywhere, our morning's pilgrimage has wasted time. To our sisters who have travelled the world over, our morning's journey is meaningless. The trip was neither worth sore feet. To us sisters who in this world have seen everything, to see an old and young man like you 2 is a waste of time. To us sisters who have heard all things in this world, the claims of your good name are but empty clamour. You 2, either a pair of Buddhist puppets or devil-possessed agents, will cause but evil hindrances. If you understand what we are singing, you may answer us with verses. If you cannot understand, you may get up and go, for we do not want you." Thus they sang. The Jetson said, "O Rachungpa, the 3 lakes of the Snow Mountain were prophesied by the Buddha himself to be a superb place for devotion. If we do not answer those who disparage them, not only will these slanderers be damned, but also the merits of such holy places will be misconstrued. We yogis who act candidly with our bodies, mouths and minds should also answer the slanders made against us. Thus not only will the merits and rightness of yogic action be illustrated, but the slanderers will also be corrected. Now, Rachungpa, sing in chorus with your father for these young women." O faithful patrons here assembled, and you young people who love to chant and sing, especially you 5 loquacious maidens, listen to this reply, the song that I shall sing. Know ye who we are? We are the older and younger rappers. I, the old man on the right side singing, am the yogi Milarepa. He, the young man chanting on the left, is Dordrug Rechung. With a good tune and words of meaning, I sing to you, my patrons here assembled, the song which flows from my enlightened spirit. Think as you hear it and listen mindfully. The fame of DC Snow Mountain is fast spreading. People say of it in distant places. DC is a crystal-like pagoda. When one approaches closer, one sees the summit is snow-covered. The prophecy of Buddha says most truly that this snow mountain is the navel of the world, a place where the snow leopards dance. The mountain top, the crystal-like pagoda, is the white and glistening palace of Demchok. The great snow mountains where DC encircle are the dwelling places of 500 arahats. Here all deities of the 8 divisions pay their homage. Surrounding it are hills and marshes. The region abounds with incense plants, the source of nectar-producing drugs. This is the great place of accomplished yogis. Here one attains transcendental samadhis. There is no place more wonderful than this. There is no place more marvelous than here. The fame of Marpam Lake is indeed fast spreading. People say of it in distant places. Marpam Lake is like a green gem mandala. When one approaches closer, one sees their waters cold and plentiful. As prophesied by the Buddha in past ages, this lake is called the lake that's never warm. The fountainhead of 4 great rivers, a place where fish and otters swim. Because it is the 8 Nagas' dwelling, it appears to be a mandala made of gems. The water falling in it from the heavens is like a stream of milk, a rain of nectar. It is the 100 Devas' bathing place, the water with 8 merits. The lovely plains and rocks this lake encircling are treasuries of the lesser Nagas. Here grows superb Sambudrissa wood. The southern continent Sambu, for this reason, has its name. There is no place more wonderful than this. There is no place more marvellous than here. The fame of the height of Red Rock is fast spreading. People say of it in distant places. That huge rock is like a heap of jewels. When one approaches closer, one sees a great rock towering above a meadow. As prophesied by Buddha in past ages, it is the Black Hill, the rock of Biji mountain range. It is the central place north of the woodlands on the border between Tibet and India, where Indian tigers freely roam. The medicine trees, sandan and sundru, are found here growing wild. The rock looks like a heap of glistening jewels. It is the palace where live the heavenly saints. It is the seat of hermits blessed by the Dakinis, and where accomplished yogis live. Here the river, all the hills encircle. Making a solitary place forbidden, there is no more place wonderful than this. There is no place more truly marvellous. The fame of the elder and younger Repas is fast spreading. People say of us in distant places, they are truly the accomplished beings. When one approaches closer, one sees only an old man and a younger fellow, with nothing wonderful about them. The plain looks of these two show the complete exhaustion of form clinging and discrimination thoughts. Lying with our bodies naked shows that we need not clothes of the 2 clingings. Heedlessly exposing our male organs prove that we have no self-made shameful feelings. These little verses flowing from our mouths come from our inner experience. The cotton clothes we wear show blissful inner heat at burning. That we eat leftover food as beggars proves our abnegation of desires and pleasures, shows our spirit unconcerned and fearless. Thus we live with our 6 senses in a way most generous and natural and ingenious. I am the Guru of the faithful and well-gifted, the source whence their pith instructions came. I am the symbol to which patrons pay their homage, the exemplar of all the saints and sages. To me great yogis tell their understandings. Through me wrong views may be eliminated. I am the source from which truth is illumined, the one who has realized the law of non-existence. I am the one whose mind remains in peace, who leads others on the path's experience. I am the one who realized himself as Dharmakaya, who with compassion works for others. There is nothing else more wonderful than this. There is no one else more marvellous than I. Young lady visitors, you have pilgrimaged to every land, but your journeys were but toil and drudgery. If you want to make a pilgrimage of value, travel to the holy shrine of Palgobawadi. It may be true that you have journeyed everywhere, but all of this was a waste of time and made you feel footsore and weary. If you want to make a worthwhile journey, visit Holy Bodh Gaya. There may be no place that you have not visited, but they are all of little meaning. If you want to make a real pilgrimage, visit Lhasa Chulon Temple. There may be nothing of which you have not heard, yet all that has been without significance. If you want something truly meaningful, listen to the pith instructions of the oral lineage. You may have relied on many people, yet they were but your kinsfolk. If you seek a person on whom you can rely, find a capable guru. You may have done all things everywhere, but most of them were deeds of karma. If you want your deeds to be truly worthy, you should practice the teaching of the Holy Dharma. This is the old man's answer to you maidens. If you can understand it, these are the real teachings. Otherwise you may regard it as a common song. The time has now come for you to leave. We are the yogis who do whatever we will. You visitors may go and do the same. Rechungma, who was the leader of the girls and who stood in the centre, was thereupon confirmed in her great faith. As tears rolled down her cheeks, she untied the jade from her belt and took off the jewelled ornaments from her head. Prostrating herself before Milarepa, she cried, "We 5 girls will sincerely ask you to grant us the teaching of Dharma. Also we beg that you give us the profound pith instructions, but we have now made up our minds to meditate in a hermitage." And she sang prayerfully. As one light is kindled from another, the teaching has been transmitted down from Dharmakaya, the great Dorje Chang. The holders of this great succession are compassionate and enlightened. Are they not the great Tilopa and Naropa? He who journeyed to India with such hardship, was he not the great Marpa the translator? He who underwent such trials for his teacher Marpa, is he not the great and faithful Milarepa? His naked body is full of splendour, his speech rich and melodious. His loving mind shines forth with radiant light. I bow down to the body, speech and mind of my father Repa. We 5 girls who have come to this meeting must have had small merit in our previous lives. We have attained human bodies, but are lowly born. We have no self-control in practicing the Dharma. Today, because of your blessing, most precious Jetson, deep faith from our hearts upwells. This precious jade upon my belt and the jewelled headdress I now untie and offer to you. Pray grant us Buddha's teaching. Please tell us of your life story. Milarepa replied, I have no use for your gems and ornaments. If you sincerely intend to practice Dharma, there are many better and wiser gurus than I. Go and ask the Dharma from them. I am a person who pays no heed to clothes and food, and always dwells in no man's land. You cannot follow my way of living, and it is doubtful whether you would be able to endure want of food and clothing. Please then listen to my song. The marvellous one who underwent such hardships for Naropa, the one blessed by the great Tilopa and Dorje Chang, is he not the father translator who speaks 2 tongues, the father translator Guru Marpa? I am Milarepa, blessed by his mercy. My father was Mila Shirav Jansan, my mother Nyansa Kajam, and I was called Dubagar, delightful to hear. Because our merits and virtues were of small account, and the cause effect karma of the past spares no one, my father Miller passed away too early in his life. The deceiving goods and belongings of our household were plundered by my aunt and uncle, whom I and my mother had to serve. They gave us food fit only for dogs. The cold wind pierced our ragged clothes. Our skins froze and our bodies were benumbed. Often was I beaten by my uncle, and endured his cruel punishment. Hard was it to avoid my aunt's ill temper. I lived as best I could, a lowly servant, and shrugged my shoulders in bitter resignation. Misfortunes descended one after the other. We suffered so our hearts despaired. In desperation I went to Lamas Yundran and Wandunglaga, from whom I mastered the magic arts of Su, Sir, and Dead. Witnessed by my aunt and uncle, I brought great disaster on their villages and kinsmen, for which later I suffered deep remorse. Then I heard the fame of Marpa, the renowned translator, who, blessed by the saints Naropa and Madripa, was living in the upper village of South River. After a hard journey I arrived there. For 6 years and 8 months I stayed. With him my gracious father Guru Marpa. For him I built many houses, one with courtyards and 9 stories. Only after this did he accept me. From him I received the pointing out instruction. Thus I truly understood Mahamudra, the view of the profound absolute. He also taught me the 6 yogas of Naropa, the final teaching of the path of means. I was ripened through the 4 initiations and obtained a true decisive understanding of the great Guru Naropa's teaching. Having received the pith instructions from Marpa, I renounced all the affairs of this life, and no longer lazy devoted myself to Dharma. Thus have I reached the state of eternal bliss. Such is the story of my life. I wish you 5 young ladies all good fortune and great joy. Leave us now and go home. Hearing the Jetsons' life story, all the maidens' faith was strengthened anew. They begged Milarepa to accept them as his servants. He said, You are spoiled girls from rich families, and if you come here with me, you will never be able to endure the hardships of my life. If you want to practice the Dharma, you should live ascetically, as I do, but I doubt if you can. Then he sang a song called the Self-Examination. I bowed down at the feet of Marpa the translator. If you, the 5 young sisters, really want to practice Dharma and insist on coming with me, think this song over carefully and obtain the answers for yourselves. You should ask yourselves, have I the persistence to endure the hardships of the ascetic life? Have I a will strong and dominant enough to renounce all samsaric desires and follow the instructions of my Guru? Though you leave your native land, the prison of all evils, can you persevere alone in rugged places? Though you renounce your kinsmen, the noose of devils, and realize their detriments, can you depend upon a qualified Guru? Though you realize the properties and goods are poisonous, the enticing bait of demons, can you live in destitution and endure hardship? Though you forsake soft woolen clothes from wool, can you produce the warm and blissful Dumo in a heat? If you renounce the city life and forsake your friends and lovers, can you live alone in no man's land? Though you disavow the 8 desires, can you live in a humble and lowly way? Though you understand the transiency of this life, do you realize the precariousness of all life? This is the tradition of the Kagyu Lama, the way of practice in our lineage. You may come with me if you can answer yea. I shall then give you the tantric teaching and the pith instruction of the skillful path. Then shall I bless you and grant you the initiations. Having heard this song, the girls all became very happy. Their leader, Rechungma, said, though we were born in a female form, which is considered to be inferior, nevertheless, so far as the alaya still consciousness is concerned, there is no discrimination between man and woman. We are convinced of the faults of samsara and shall try to follow our Guru's instructions, but in view of our inability to practice the Dharma in a perfect way, we beg you to accept us as your servants. No matter whether we have or have not the ability to practice the Dharma, please do not forsake us. In her song she expressed her confidence in being able to practice the Jetson's teachings and besought him to accept her as his servant. Father, qualified Guru, precious one, your naked body is full of splendor. I bow down at your feet, Jatsamrepa. Through ascetic practice you help all sentient beings. We 5 sisters who come to this assembly may have a lower body form as women, but in the Buddha Bodhi mind there is neither man nor woman. Thinking of the defects of samsara, please allow us to practice austerities and follow your instruction. Let us leave our country, the prison of demons, and remain forever in a hermitage. Let us leave for good our relatives, the troublemakers, and rely solely upon our Guru. Property and possessions are the lure of devils. Let us forever renounce them and practice austerity. Let us give up fine woolen clothes from wool and kindle the blissful wondrous inner heat. Let us leave our native land and lovers and remain in no man's land. Let us each act humbly with our body, speech and mind. Let us depart from the 8 worldly claims and realize that all is transitory. Let us remember the uncertainty of coming death. Let us follow the instructions of our Lama. O most perfect Guru, most precious one, please be kind and grant us the Dharma. Please accept us, the 5 sisters, as your servants. Milarepa really realized that they were well-destined disciples and so accepted them. At that time, Milarepa and his son disciples were still dwelling at the 5 small lakes. There he imparted the initiations and pith instructions to the 5 girls and set them to meditating. Rechungma attained the warm and blissful experiences and other merits of Dumo within 3 days. Later, Rechungma became ill. In order to test her perseverance in remaining in solitude, Milarepa told her that she might go wherever she liked, but the girl replied, although I am ill, I will stay in the hermitage, thus proving that she had the persistence to endure misfortunes. One day Rechungma went to see Milarepa when he was sojourning elsewhere, and met him in a great assembly. In order to test her faith and see whether she had full confidence in him, she sang before the assembly a song with 2 meanings. I pray to all the holy Gurus, I take refuge in the patron Buddha. Listen, faithful patrons, if you cannot renounce the 8 worldly desires, never say that you are men with faith. Your faith may be so lost when adverse conditions come. If you do not avoid the 10 evil deeds, never call yourselves men of discipline, lest you should fall down to the lower paths. If distracted thoughts still haunt your mind, never claim that you observe the tantric precepts, lest you should fall into the Vajra hell. Never criticize the teachings of other schools if you have not made impartial and wise studies, else you will violate the principle of Dharma and scorch your own mind badly. If you have not realized the illusory nature of all beings, never neglect virtuous deeds and avoid all sinning, lest you should fall into the 3 lower realms. If you do not understand the minds of others, never slander others or condemn their views. lest you be misled by self-conceit and egotism. If you have not unified your mind with Dharma essence, do not boast of your meditation experiences, lest devils interrupt your progress. If you have not reached the state of beyond talking, do not boast of your great understanding, lest you be left in a pitiable position, longing for but never obtaining the tantalizing fruit. If you have not reached the realm of spontaneous action, do not do what you will or neglect your self-control, lest the sling stone that you throw rebound upon your head. Through my mouth the Dharma has been preached. It should be treasured in your hearts. Comprehend it clearly and bear it in your minds. Among the audience, only Rachungma fully understood the meaning of this song. She rose from the crowd and said to Milarepa, "Regarding the accomplishments of my Guru, his acts and deeds, I have never had a single moment of doubt nor the slightest skepticism. Please listen to my song," whereupon she chanted the 15 realizations. I bow down to all holy gurus, toward the Jetson, my father Guru. I have steadfast reverence and faith immutable. The 3 precious ones are but one entity. Amongst the deities I cannot discriminate. In the pith instructions of the whispered lineage given by my Guru, there are no play words or vain babblings in the practice of the Yidam Yoga, whose essence is the Jetson. There are no periods of time or intervals. Things as they manifest are by nature magic-like. I do not deem them to be substantial, nor do I cling to them with habitual thoughts. In the mind essence, the quintessential light, there is no adulteration by distracting thoughts. In the real nature of beings, the realm of mind, there is no subject-object defilement. In the natural state of the mind essence, there is no ground from which habitual thought may rise. The nature of the mind is Dharmakaya. It is not defiled by forms, and former attributes is free. Our bodies are the meeting place of the 4 diseases, and so we should not quarrel with our friends. Devils and misfortunes should be used to help in our devotions. There is no need to seek imaginary divinations. Dreams are delusory and emanations of habitual thoughts. One should not deem them to be true or cling to them. Forgive the foe who is your real teacher, for you should never cherish vengeful thoughts. Towards the behavior of an accomplished being, do not raise doubts and criticism. Self-manifestation is the Buddha, the one originally existing, so do not seek the accomplished one in other places. My holy Guru, gracious teacher, pray always bless all capable disciples, bathing them ever in the stream of love and grace. Pray always remember me, this ignorant disciple. Pray embrace me ever with your great compassion. Milarepa was very pleased, and he decided that Rachungma was a qualified female yogi, fitted to be a companion in tantric devotion, and so he imparted to her all the pith instructions without reservation. Then he said to Rachungpa, "You are very good at teaching the disciples. You should take care of this girl." And he handed her over to Rachungpa, who for a time took her as a companion in devotion. Thereafter she went to meditate in Samodo of Namso Shumo in the north, observing absolute silence for 8 years. Eventually she gained the 10 experiences and 8 merits, and perfected all spiritual purifications and realizations of the path, and in this life she went to the Pure Land of the Dakinis. This is the story of Milarepa meeting Rachungma, one of his 4 foremost female disciples, at 5 small lakes in Joloditsa.